A question I get asked a lot is, should I get the DJI Mini 3 Pro or the DJI Air 2S? And I was always saying to you guys, get the DJI Mini 3 Pro. You're going to get every feature and more that the DJI Air 2S has, but in a cheaper and smaller body. But now we have the DJI Air 3, it completely changes things. So let's do a comparison now between the Mini 3 Pro and the DJI Air 3. Let's talk about some of the differences, some of the different features you get on the Air 3, and then I'll put some side-by-side video on the screen so you can see if you can tell any difference at all. You might already have the Mini 3 Pro and you're thinking of upgrading, so I'm going to try and answer a lot of those questions. Let's get straight into that first point. Before we do, just make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell because I've got loads of content coming really soon. Let's talk about the cameras. The camera on these two drones is probably going to be one of the main features you're actually looking at in relation to getting one of these drones over the other one. Both drones do actually have the same sensor size. On the wide camera, a 1/1.3 inch CMOS 12 megapixel sensor. On the Air 3 now has a new stacked sensor, which is a slight improvement over the Mini 3 Pro. The Mini 3 already had a good camera, but the wide camera on the Air 3 is better, being new technology, new stacked sensor, so you can notice a quality bump and putting it closer to the performance of the Mavic 3 Pro's camera. They're also similar as well because they're both fixed f1.7 apertures, meaning you cannot adjust that aperture. So this is going to be good for nighttime videos and photos, but in the daytime you're going to need to put an ND filter on, otherwise your video is going to be well too sharp. So you can see the actual spec side of it, they are really similar aside from the Air 3 having that new stacked sensor. Whilst we're talking about that main camera, they also share a lot of similarities as well. You see, they're both shooting up to 4K 60, they both shoot in HDR. The DJI Air 3 can shoot in 4K 120, so it's better for slow-mo. However, where it gets different is relating to the colour profiles. The DJI Mini 3 Pro can only shoot in normal and D-Cine, which is a 10-bit colour profile. The DJI Air 3 can shoot in normal, HLG, which is a 10-bit colour profile, and also the D-Log-M, which is that flat colour profile, similar to D-Cine, still 10-bit, but this is what we have on the Mavic 3 Pro, and this is a fantastic colour profile. But where it gets different is the actual tele lens. The DJI Air 3 has this zoom lens, a 70mm equivalent an f2.8. The main feature I would say on this DJI Air 3, it allows you to zoom into that subject, get closer to the action without having to get your drone physically there. The Mini 3 Pro, it has no tele lens, it only has a digital zoom. So if we put some side-by-side shots on the screen now, I'm going to actually use the 3x tele lens on the DJI Air 3, and then I'm going to actually digitally zoom in on the DJI Mini 3 Pro 3x, and you can see the difference. It doesn't compare, does it? The DJI Air 3, it's nice and sharp with little to hardly any noise on there whatsoever, whereas the Mini 3 Pro at 3x zoom just looks terrible, lots of noise. So in relation to the actual tele lens, the Air 3, a huge advantage there. We wanted sensors on these small drones for so long, and the Mini 3 Pro got tri-directional sensoring. So it has sensors at the front, it has sensors at the back here, and it also has sensors on the bottom of the drone. It has zero side protection whatsoever. What's great is that the DJI Air 3, this shares the same omnidirectional sensoring as the Mavic series. So you can see the sensors actually protrude out. So this has now a 360 degrees of centering protection. So when you're flying sideways, the actual sensors on the side here will detect any objects and will actually bypass them or brake. So a huge advantage in relation to the centering. I'm really glad we've now got omnidirectional sensoring on the DJI Air 3. We only have tri-directional sensoring on the Mini 3 Pro. So for obstacle avoidance, the Air 3, big advantage. A feature I really like using on these drones is ActiveTrack. So the Mini 3 Pro has ActiveTrack 4 and the Air 3 has ActiveTrack 5. So how is that different? When you're using ActiveTrack, so you drag a box around you and the drone will track you and it actually will film you as you're moving about. The Mini 3 Pro is limited because it generally only really follows you from behind. You can get a parallel, like a sideways tracking shot on the Mini 3 Pro, but it doesn't always work really well. The DJI Air 3, this now has the same ActiveTrack as on the Mavic series. So on the Mavic series, you get this on-screen display, so you can actually tell the drone exactly where you want it to track you from on a clock face. So it could be at 6 o'clock straight behind you, it could be in front of you, could be at the sides, it could even be diagonal in front or diagonal behind. You just hit go and the drone will then track you and it will actually follow you, recording you as you move about. So this Air 3 has much better ActiveTrack. So if you love ActiveTrack, then the Air 3 is a big advantage. You can also use it in the vertical shooting mode as I talked about at the start of the video. So you can use in 2.7K using the ActiveTrack on the DJI Air 3 and it works flawlessly. You can even use 4K 60 now on the DJI Air 3 and it will still use ActiveTrack and avoid obstacles. So this is a big advantage there. This video is sponsored by Motion Array. I use the platform all the time. It gives you access to over 1 million video assets that you can download, and it works on all the popular video editors, including presets, templates, motion graphics. So in today's video, I wanted to do some split screen comparisons. So how? Well, what I did is I just searched for split screen, and then I had loads to choose from. I downloaded it and had access to it instantly. This makes editing so much easier, but you can also download special effects, titles, lower thirds, and pop-ups. It also includes royalty-free music, sound effects, and plugins. It is a monthly plan, so once you pay the monthly fee, you have access to everything on the site unlimited times. You can download it unlimited, and you can even sign up for free and try some of the free assets. So sign up with my link down below, and there's also a creative challenge running at the moment until August 4th, where you can get a chance to win some fantastic prizes. Thanks Motion Array for sponsoring this video. Where I think the Mini 3 Pro has the advantage though is vertical shooting. It has a trick up its sleeve. You can actually rotate this camera. By the touch of a button it will rotate, and then now you can get vertical photos and videos. Whereas the DJI Air 3, the camera doesn't rotate. What it does, it actually crops into that video. So you're going to get a 2.7K video and then you can share that. I don't think that's as good as a Mini 3 Pro. The Mini 3 Pro you can shoot up to 4K 60 in dedicated vertical, and you can also use it in photos as well. Both of these you can use in like master shots, quick shots, so there's the same there in relation to vertical shooting, but just because you can use the Mini 3 Pro for photos, I still think that has the advantage. This is where I find the DJI Air 3 is going to start pulling ahead in the lead, and it's in relation to actual features built into it. If you just say, what features do you want in a Mini 3 Pro? Most of you are going to say waypoints. The DJI Air 3 has waypoints, so you can actually plot on a map and actually do this pre-flight plan where you want the drone to go, exactly like literally, do you want the camera to tilt at a certain point? Do you want to switch to photos mode? You can plot it completely before you've even done that flight. It has waypoints. What else do you want on the Mini 3 Pro? Do you want cruise control? So as you're flying the drone, you can just hit that C1 button and the drone will continue to fly in a straight path wherever you want it to go without actually having to do any controls yourself. The DJI Air 3 has cruise control. We saw night video mode on the Mavic 3 Pro, which actually increases the ISO automatically and reduces any noise. So for at night time, videos look so good. The Air 3 has night video mode as well. The Mini 3 Pro, it doesn't. So it's actually getting a lot more features. But an area where it gets a lot better as well is actual flight time. So the Mini 3 Pro has this really small battery, and it's going to get 34 minutes. Now in actual reality, in real world, it's probably going to be high 20s. So 26, 27 minutes of battery life, depending on those wind conditions. Whereas the DJI Air 3 has a much bigger battery, and this is going to give you 46 minutes of battery life. And in real world, I was getting about 35 minutes, maybe a little bit more, depending on the wind conditions. So much better battery life coming from this. An area where it's also different in relation to the signal, how it works. So the Mini 3 Pro has OcuSync 3 video transmission. Now some people said it wasn't really very good with DJI RC controller. I never really found personally it to be a problem. I found that signal to be okay. But I have noticed a difference between the DJI Air 3 and the Mini 3 Pro in relation to signal performance for a few reasons. The Air 3 has 6 antennas built into it, the Mini 3 Pro has 4. It also has a new transmission channel, so when you're in areas where there's lots of interference, it will switch to this for a cleaner channel, so that's better. But I think it's to do with the controller. So this now has the new DJI RC2 controller with external antennas, and I think this is what the biggest difference is. So I'm getting a much better signal performance. I'm actually getting a similar signal performance to when I use the DJI RC Pro. And fun fact, the actual DJI Air 3 has a better transmission signal than the DJI Mavic 3 Pro. I'm still struggling to process that, but yeah, the signal is better on the Air 3 than the Mavic 3 Pro. The Mini 3 Pro still has its main advantage though, what a lot of people buy this for, and this is to do with the size of it. It is tiny. It is going to be smaller than your hand. It's smaller than most phones. You're going to take this around places more with you because it is just so goddamn small. And it's also under 250 grams, which means you can fly this pretty much in most countries around the world, restriction free. Whereas the DJI Air 3, it is larger, it is bigger. It's not going to be noticeable in a bag. You know, it's not as heavy as the Mavic series. And it also has a C1 label. It is under 900 grams. So if you're flying in the EU and you want a C1 label, then this is going to answer that as well. The Mini 3 Pro does have that advantage. It is smaller, it's got less restrictions. You can pretty much buy this, register it, and go off and fly. But an area where the Mini 3 Pro, it can struggle because of its size is the wind. It's not the most powerful drone. It's going to struggle a bit in any strong winds. The DJI Air 3 is much bigger, has much bigger propellers. So this is really good in the wind. I would say it's pretty similar, you know, now because it's a heavier body than the DJI Air 2S. It's pretty similar to the Mavic series. Not as good, but it's really good. So if you're going to be flying in areas like Madeira, Tenerife, countries that are really windy, but you actually don't want to not be able to fly and take content because your Mini 3 Pro can't handle it, an Air 3 definitely will be able to. So I've not covered every single difference there, but I wanted to highlight the main differences so you can choose which one is right for you. So to summarize the cameras, the Mini 3 Pro has one fixed 24mm camera, the Air 3 has a new stacked sensor, 24mm, and a 70mm dedicated tele zoom lens. The Air 3 has a lot of extra features like waypoint, cruise control, night video. It has better sensors on here, so it's going to give you better obstacle avoidance, better peace of mind. You're not going to crash your drone. It's also going to be better in the wind. The Mini 3 Pro has the advantage that it has better vertical video, and it is also has less restrictions, and it's easier to take around with you because it's so small. But let me know in the comments down below, which one do you think's best out of these two drones? If you want to go and pick up any of these, I'm going to link them at the top of the description. I'll be really interested to hear your thoughts. It is a close one in terms that both of these drones are fantastic, but the Air 3 features wise, it just has a lot more now.